seek someone that's gonna hold you accountable. And if you can't find nobody, hold yourself accountable. We all make mistakes. If you still the you was 10 years ago, you ain't growing
You're not moving.
at all. Stagnant. You still in
Zombie,
water.
zombie, zombie.
Absolutely. Be moving water. Keep saving.
Okay.
Do something challenging. That's why I said do this
Right.
film. Like do something that you
Right.
can like track your growth.
And record yourself. Record yourself. That is really big too.
And get y'all pH right. Get some alkaline.
Okay.
All of y'all.
Nigga, you walk banana talking about what you
That's the ego.
It's been a little strong out here this summer. Get y'all alkaline. I love y'all.
We appreciate y'all for listening. This has been the Infinity Podcast. Peace, love, and blessings to you all.
Oneness. God bless. This was great. This was great.
That was good.
Check the rock.
Peace and blessings, love and light to all you infinite beings. This is the Infinity Podcast. I am Khalid J. Lamb, aka Lamb Nation 98, and you know I'm great. And let them introduce themselves.
To the right, my name is Omari. Omari J.C. Braun. Too wavy, too savvy, and never lazy. Kind of crazy, but I promise you, I will amaze me.
To the
I had
left
to
is
rhyme.
Teresa Kings. I go by Mother Goose as well. Gonna get loose. That's it for my introduction.
Infinite blessings to you all. We're happy to be here today. Today's topic is infinitely healing. We're going to be discussing how to deal with pain and emotions and heartache, pain and heartache. Uh, from our perspectives and from our experience, definitely open to learn and to share.
Excuse me.
And we're grateful to be here.
Very grateful.
What would you say was your first like heartache?
I thought we was on good news.
Oh, yep, good news.
Good news, good news, good news.
I want to talk about heartache and pain.
Really bad. It's okay.
Teresa, you got any good news?
Good news is I would say this week, but over a month ago, I quit my job and I opened up my own business called Mother Goose, dealing with metaphysics and rituals and spells, conjure work, and I got the courage to start homeschooling my kids. So that's my good news.
You got any good news?
All my good news is I'm healing properly from a breakup, uh, taking my mental health more serious. I just had therapy today. But more importantly than news of my life, just the greatest news of all is just waking up today to experience another day. Uh, Heartache, pain, good news, bad news, and all. It's all good news to me, and I'm grateful to be here with my family.
Grateful to be here with you.
Thank you, thank you.
Good news. I just started a business. I am now a fitness coach. So I'm getting all my stuff in the road to be fitness coach, financial coach, life coach. So all of that is happening and coming into fruition. And I just got dumped recently, so I have a lot of free time to pursue these endeavors. So good news to me.
Great news. All right, let's go ahead and go into the topic of healing and dealing with emotions.
Overcoming heartache and pain.
Would you say is it really overcoming or just accepting it?
What would be the difference?
I would say overcoming it would be basically you. That's a good question. I would say overcoming it would be basically you not going back to like revisit it. You're not trying to make amends with the person. You're not trying to make amends with yourself. From from my opinion. And what did I say? The other one was making amends and what? Accepting it would be, for instance, we all know how we get when we alone. We are sometimes sad. We can go into like this big anxiety. We don't like being alone. I feel like we're all social beings. Accepting it would be more like you sitting with it, you coming to agree with yourself about it so you can understand it. Like really sitting with that emotion and understanding like what was the stem of the heartache. You get what I'm saying? Like what was the purpose behind it all? Because I feel like everything is a lesson. Um, and then there's different types of heartache. Heartaches from your parents, heartaches from a breakup, heartaches from your friends not calling you. You know what I'm saying? Like, but as a whole, I would say accepting the heartache and accepting the emotions that's coming with it. Revisiting it if you need to. Not letting it consume or take over your day or the month that you're trying to change. I don't want to say agree with it, but kind of like a teddy bear or some shit. Like put like use it as like a teddy bear. You know what I'm saying? Like
you came to terms with it.
Right, you came to terms with it. It's just fluffy. You don't like it. You might not like the feeling of it, but you're able to, hey, revisit it and not make you so much emotional. Yeah. It don't make you so much not angry with yourself that fucked up, or you might felt like
but it's more so like a reminder.
Yeah. That you overcame this challenge, that you overcame this emotion, but not in the sense of damn. We gonna edit that out because I said overcame. But you made amends with it.
No.
You made amends with it to where it's not fully taking control over you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think accepting is a better word.
Right, accepting it, basically.
And then while you was talking, I just thought about it. Like loneliness can like cause pain and cure pain. Because if you're in like you said, a toxic relationship or even like a toxic work environment or whatever, like being alone will actually cure that pain that you're enduring from that relationship, from that job. But then also sometimes being alone and being by yourself causes people pain too, because people desire to have a community, to have a spouse, to have a relationship, to have a meaningful job or career. So I think that all goes back to like some of our previous conversations that we said about about good and bad. You know what I'm saying? Like loneliness isn't a bad thing.
Right.
And I don't think it's necessarily a good thing either. It depends on how you use it and when you use it in certain situations.
And I feel like it is needed. You not loneliness, but to be by yourself at a point in time. You know what I'm saying? Like to know what's going on, to be aware of the cycles that you went through the heartache. You get what I'm saying? To really understand why was the separation.
So I got a question for. I'm gonna start with Martin. Martin said too much.
But he ain't say. Oh, go ahead.
What? No, I just got a general question. When do you think? Not you use this like advice to a dear friend. They ask me this advice. They're open to it. They're receptive of it. When would you advise them to be alone, and when would you advise them to more so reassimilate with job, career, relationship, or whatever? Like, what are some tips would you say, like, or some signs when man, this person really needs to be alone, or this person has been alone long enough, and now that loneliness is their pain, and now they should seek other things where they're not
alone? That's a good question. I do agree with what you said with how loneliness can be painful. From my understanding of it, though, well, just one, I would say like to truly appreciate uh, any emotion or feeling, you gotta one has probably endeavored the reciprocal of it. So like, you know, I've become less foreign with love by feeling angry or by
Mm.
being upset. So basically, what I've said is, like she said, everybody has the opportunity to be afforded a lesson or growth through the pains that we go through. So, to say that being lonely can be healing or painful, I don't see them as two different sides. I just see it as, you know, is the pain something that's just felt, or does the pain birth, growth? Meaning that through the pains, i.e., or challenges we go through, we're offered opportunity to grow. So I wouldn't say being alone to me means physically being alone, but like ultimately, you know, we come in this world alone, we leave this world alone. And I just feel like when you're alone, it doesn't always have to be in the physical. When you're alone, you're able to be more accountable. And sometimes, like you said, sometimes being alone isn't healthy, depending on the person where they're at in their life. But to answer your question, I feel like if I would never want someone, I would never, if one's growth was dependent on the people around them or the environment that they're in, I would never challenge them to take that away, because then the growth would be gone. But at some point, I would start advising them to ultimately make decisions and to approach emotional contemplation on their own. But I wouldn't say it's right or wrong. I would just say sometimes sometimes I focus too much on just trying to be alone or avoiding being alone. But ultimately, the goal is to grow. Ultimately, sometimes people could pursue being alone so much that they take away the the blessings or aid that life has provided them through environments or the people around them. Sometimes people depend on them too much. But honestly, I would say when I think of my alignment with being alone, I would say it starts with self reflection, just looking back, well, how much of my emotional process or intent to change has been dependent upon the people around me or environments or things that happen to me versus, you know, me happening, like me pushing the change. So ultimately, I would just say, just to focus on bringing change into one's life, because I feel like we stop living when we stop learning, and the things we learn, they ultimately afford us change. So
Mm.
we just always want to. If being alone doesn't afford you change, that's something to work on. That's something to force yourself into. If change is only allotted from the people you're around or experiences you endeavor, then that's something to acknowledge and then try to bring change on your own. But never something you should force. Just something to be on top of, in my opinion. But ultimately, again, I say that word, at some point, optimally, you will want to be able to bring change on your own. Lastly, I say this because if someone's um, complacent or stagnant in their growth, if change is only being brought upon by life changing you or change being forced upon, I wouldn't look down on it. I would still go, well, that person is being afforded change. But at some point, I'm going to always commend the person who's able to change on their own versus someone who's being forced to change. However, I look at both as proactive versus not changing at all. So, like you said, to answer your question, it's when somebody's ready. It's when somebody's ready. Like when you're in the process of change. Uh, as much as I like to say, try to be alone or go through things alone, it's just sometimes not realistic. Only you know yourself. Uh, Sometimes you got to seek counsels of others, but I don't know. I just I would I would rather focus on just not being, like I said, complacent, not being stuck in one spot, because then you're not changing at all. But like, you jump back into real life when you're ready, or you go through things alone for however long it takes. But I don't feel like a lot of times people put a time basis on change. Sometimes the incremental steps in life make for one big change, not how long it takes. So, as long as we're changing, you jump back in life when you're ready.
So I want to try to sum that up into a couple of words, couple of sentences. So the biggest takeaway is to self-reflect and to make that change of when to isolate or when to assimilate, when to be alone, when to be together, when you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if people have, I feel like in society they push isolation. They push isolation. They push individualism in society. Like if you think about other countries, like even like in business and school and stuff, they work together as a team. You know what I'm saying? It's more so they have group projects, they have group work. They all focus on collaboration. Some of these other countries like China and stuff like that versus in America, you sit at your desk, you don't ask nobody no questions, you don't get no help from nobody, right? And I feel like I'm gonna tell you two sides of it. When this isolation and alone can be helpful and when it can be hurtful, because it can be hurtful when you're using somebody as a crutch, when you're codependent on somebody, when you are by when you're with somebody only for the purposes of leeching off of them. You're not contributing nothing to the group. You know, we do a group project and you always got that one person, group of boys, that one person that don't never do nothing. You know what I'm saying? That person needs to be alone because they're like a mooch. They're living off another person. They can't function without the group. You know what I'm saying? But if you have three individuals that can function alone individually, I feel like those people don't need to be alone. They need to find other people who have already mastered being alone, being isolated, and then you need to come together. They keep us isolated because the more you're isolated, the less progress you can make. And I feel like the government
And
or
that's what they
them,
do in prison though. They put them in like that's one of isn't that one of the they put them in isolation zone, don't eat, talk to nobody,
what
they
is
by
it?
themselves.
Solitary
Solitary
confinement.
Yeah.
confinement.
Like if you watch the movie Castaway, the dude. I mean, that's a movie, but that like really happened. Like people go crazy from being alone, and not saying it to that extreme, but like not we all, but a lot of people, they don't even leave their house. You work from home.
Yeah.
You go to Amazon. You get your
A lot of people do
groceries.
not leave
You
their
get your
houses.
groceries delivered. You don't never see nobody. You only interact with people on social media. You don't have no like you remember like you ever play Sims and you got that social media and then like your social media go down and it's like I feel like being alone can be to people's detriment. It just depends on what side of the spectrum you're on. Because, like I was saying, with the government or the powers that may be, wanting to keep us isolated so they can control us and manipulate us. What is it? United or divided we fall, united we
You
stand, or
stand.
something like that. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, if you're using that as like a codependency or a crutch, then you do need to like master yourself and master being alone. Because if you ever are isolated from your group and you have to be alone, you're gonna suffer.
Right.
But once we come together as sovereign individuals and then we work together, that's awesome. We about to go camping next week. If I pitch a tent by myself versus we pitch a tent together, we go find food together. You know what I'm saying? When we out there and I'm hurt, boom, I got somebody I can rely on. You hurt, I got, you know what I'm saying? And then we can all lean on each other's strengths and weaknesses. But like you said, it can't be to a point of codependency. But
Right. I think right there you hitting on where my brain is aligned at. With any two sides,
Mhm.
in my opinion, any two sides in this world, just like I try to make it a quick reference. In this world, just like when you're playing a
Excuse me.
game and they show you the offense rating and defense rating for each team. Some gonna be high on this and high on that, and we all come in this world with fluctuations. Some people high in this attribute area, some people low in this area. I think the goal in life is balance. I mean, just finding complete balance. So when I'm looking at two sides, collaboration and then isolation, I'm not immediately, and it's not because of the two sides. Whenever I see two sides, immediately it's not choose this side. It's all for me. More often, I find myself finding what's right to me is being right in the middle. Because in your example,
Right.
you know, when I'm in that tent alone, only when I can't find food or when I can't put up the tent, I only have me to fall back on, which makes me work harder to figure it out. Versus and not
It
really
is useful. It does have utility.
exactly. And
It
then
does
the
have utility.
collaboration does have utility too. 'Cause it's like, damn,
Yeah, you
I
just
have
told me.
somebody to fall back on that's not me. So ultimately, I would say, especially being in America,
Self-reflection. I know yourself.
exactly. Isolation produces skepticism.
Mhm.
Never before 20 years ago, it'd be hard to say, I study spells, rituals, metaphysics. I go by Mother Goose when it says in the Bible too. And 20 years ago, it would be harder to follow. We're using Jesus for example. To follow whatever, regardless, with the world behind me. That takes a road to isolation, and then it takes a collaboration
It
to
does.
I'm gonna stand for my people. I'm gonna be with my people. So it's the mix of both. Because
Jesus had disciples,
exactly,
but he's still alone first.
still alone first. Like
disciples, and they spread the message even more.
I would never, and when I say my people, I mean all people of the world. But I would never not align with all. I would never not have the mindset to try to align with all people in the world. But also, I equally have the mindset that if all the people in the world aren't on what I believe in my heart is right, I'm standing alone on that, regardless.
Right.
So I feel like it's a mix of both. What do you think, Teresa?
I feel like you have to be in the middle. Like that's mandatory for you to be in the middle. That's mandatory because it's important to have an open mind. It's important to, I wouldn't say experience everything, but it's important for you to be skeptical and curious. That's how the brain works. You know what I'm saying? Like it's curious to know what this feel like. It's curious to know, oh, if I do this, what's going to happen? You know what I'm saying? I feel like we need isolation. We need teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
You need isolation when you do meditation.
Right.
That's very important. You can't do. I mean, you can. Some people can't do meditation in the middle of everybody talking and stuff,
Right.
but certain people need isolation.
Right.
Right. We said, what did he do?
Just made a whole Facebook post about it.
Oh, he collaborated. He came to me and helped me, and I didn't know though that wasn't like a team effort thing. I felt like being that we are social beings and that's my father, he felt like I needed some help, so he just bust out the blue like 1 o'clock in the morning, and clean my place.
I said that to say you didn't do that on your own.
Right.
You didn't do that in isolation. You did that because you come together with your father.
Right. But what I'm saying is we need both.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel, or how do you feel heartbreak stems? Like, what is the core? Why do you feel like people go through heartbreak?
I got another question too. If everybody cares to share, what is the biggest thing that you've had to heal from?
Okay.
Let's take it one at a time. What was yours first?
Yes.
What did you say? Remember your question.
Yes, I didn't forgot mine.
No, what is the root of heartbreak?
Yeah, what is the root of heartbreak? What do you feel like? Why do we go through heartbreak?
Uh, Sometimes we get, for example, the sensory feeling of being scared of something and being excited for something, same thing. Proven. The same sensory feeling. It's the same sensory feeling.
And excited.
Being scared of something. Exactly. Exactly. So a lot of times people get stuck up on heartache, what it means, but you know, a lot of times the neurotypical people, which make up majority of people, aren't considerate of not in a bad way, haven't been taught or haven't been enlightened to the neurodivergent like myself. To feel heartache is a testament to your heart. To feel heartbreak means your heart works. It means you care. It means you're capable of being hurt, which means you're capable of loving.
Mm-hmm.
So heartache is nothing but a response to 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 your heart experiencing love on a different end. I feel like, to go back to what we were just talking about, sometimes I'd love to share a tent when I'm experiencing heartache.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I love to be in a tent alone when I'm experiencing heartache. But ultimately, I feel like they both contribute to the other, and I should be able to be in any tent alone or with others when experiencing heartache. But lastly, I would just say heartache is just heartache, feeling sad. It's really a testament to you being capable to feel love and give love, and it's um it's a human experience. It's a part of it. Like it's not nothing that is. Oftentimes, we feel it is a result of either actions done to us or actions that we've done, which is true. But on a higher level, I feel like heartache is no different than any other challenge in life with an opportunity to grow. Opportunity to grow.
Right.
Because through most heartaches, people's hearts come out stronger. Through most heartaches, people's hearts come out stronger. It's often like they say pressure busts pipes, but to put it like this, um, someone who has been challenged more, and you know this from physical training, the more tension I put on this muscle, the more, well, not tendons, the more fibers I tear through the strenuous challenge we put on, the more muscle I grow. The heart is no different. The more I love unconditionally, the more I love with no expectation, with love in return. That's more of a challenge. And when I do get hurt, which it will happen, how I respond to that hurt, how if I continue to love through that hurt, it will be defined by the growth of my love. So heartache is a beautiful thing when looking back. That's why self reflection is important. But on the upfront when it happens, yes, it's painful, it's sad, it's yeah. But ultimately, I feel like it makes you stronger. You have the opportunity to be
Right.
stronger. How do you answer that?
I feel like, well, you actually like helped me define my answer a little bit more. So I would say it's just like kind of part of the human experience because most heartache comes from the love that we have from people.
Mm,
But my initial answer, I was going to say that heartache comes from lack of acceptance and lack of knowledge and wisdom.
mm,
And I say that because well, I added a human emotion to it too because I say like the first two experience I've had with heartache is when my grandfather he was killed, and my grandmother she died. So I experienced that heartache because of the human experience, and I just have an attachment to them because that was my grandfather and my grandmother. And also I experienced the prolonged. That was like maybe the initial heartbreak, but what prolonged the heartbreak even more was the lack of understanding and the lack of wisdom because I didn't understand why would somebody kill my grandfather, you know what I'm saying? And at that, why would his own brother do it? You know what I'm saying? So now that's going to perpetuate the pain even further because I, as a 12-year-old boy, just don't understand why anybody would do that. So lack of understanding, lack of knowledge, lack of wisdom. Um, I would say the hardest um, heartache I had to go through and overcome is the overcoming. I don't know if you can ever overcome that. But the next one is just losing my grandmother because I question often why was she taken from me? You know what I'm saying? But once you know and understand why she left this earth, why she was taken from me, why she transitioned. Like once you know that and you understand why this person broke up with me, why I got fired, why whatever can cause you heartache, why did my house burn down? You know what I'm saying? Once you know why, like the initial human experience is going to allow you to be sad, to be cry, to cry, to be angry, to be mad. But that prolonged feeling is going to be shorter and shorter and shorter the more understanding and wisdom you got. Because you like, I don't know why that happened. I don't know
Right.
why this. You know what I'm saying?
I think you hit on those two words. That's an English thing. We talked about that the other day. Um,
I said something wrong. What I say wrong?
no, that's right. I just hit on something you said earlier. I'll never overcome my parents' divorce. I'll
Oh,
never overcome my own divorce. I'll never overcome being separated from my
but can you
daughter.
accept it?
There we
Because
go.
that's
But through acceptance and also surrender, I wouldn't looking back with how I define overcome. I would never want to overcome
yeah.
those
That's
things.
when I said overcome in
They'll
my mama.
always
I was thinking
define me.
about it. I said,
Yeah.
nah.
So it's good that we align on that. Like I don't want to overcome it. I accept it and overcoming to me kind of sits the same with me with kind of leaving behind. Like
Yeah,
I would
that's
bring
what I
that
thought
with
about. Like,
me in a different way now through
right,
accept. At one time, it was attached to me,
like to take yeah.
and then at one
Right.
time I
Right.
was
Right.
attached to it. Now, I accept it. I understand. I see the growth it's provided me. I see why God put that challenge in my life. It's a part of me now. It's a part of me. Just like I don't know. graduating with honors, an advanced diploma. It's like making it in the Air Force. That's an accolade in my life. The bad things in my life I look at now, and those are accolades too. They go on my trophy. I will never overcome them. They will
Right.
always be a part of me. I'm thankful for my parents' divorce. I'm thankful
Make
for
you
my
stronger.
divorce. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And what was your question you had after she had asked her question? I think it was, oh, facts,
I feel
facts,
like we're
facts,
having a
facts.
domino effect. You put it to like where we're supposed to experience heartache. You put it to I feel like you read my mind though. Wisdom and understanding it. And with death, I lost a child. I did not understand a lot. You know what I'm saying? I was doing everything I could.
Did that make it harder? Not understanding.
Yes, it made it extremely harder. It made me get to a point where I blamed myself because I didn't understand it. Um, it made me get to a point where I didn't even want to accept it. I didn't even want to accept that she was gone. You know what I'm saying? Because I had put I would say the block over the memory to, hey, um, I don't understand it. I don't want to understand it. And oh, it's my fucking fault. You know what I'm saying? Um, but that's when I started to realize in transition that you have to understand literally what's going on with you 24/7. You know what I'm saying? Like why the fucking clock is that way. Like why your son or your child is standing that way or looking like that. Why your friend or your spouse might be.
Everything.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have to understand yourself first to understand the things around you. So I did not understand myself. I did not accept that we had to experience this as a human. This is mandatory to experience and go through heartache. I wouldn't say mandatory, but it's a part of human evolution to experience, it's a heartache to make me stronger. You know what I'm saying? If I would have stayed in that state, I would probably still have my job. I probably would have never had the courage to even look at myself to accept me first, then accept the death, and then accept that, oh, this is why she passed. But blase, 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 blase. But I feel like the core of heartache comes from just not you having the wisdom and you understand it.
Hmm.
That's it.
Well stated.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So quick question. Everybody want to say, what would y'all say is y'all biggest heartbeat? We don't gotta dwell on it too much, but everybody want to just say it.
My child.
Yeah, definitely my grandmother.
No, I
Um,
take that back. Well, I would say I have two.
Okay. What's the
My second one is the heartache for myself. Like, how could I put myself through, because we all allow certain things, but how could I put myself through these trends or cycles for so long that I didn't, take that moment to look in the mirror. So that was the first heartache. And then the second heartache was me losing my child.
um, I would say my biggest heartache in life was I would say it's self-inflicted. Personalizing a lot of things through my ego, thinking a lot of things was happening to me. My parents get divorced, even me get divorced, or even the shit I do. Uh, that's been a big heartache that I recently really, I don't know, started to accept. Things don't happen to me. Uh, I'm no more important than anybody I encounter, anybody that's to me. A lot of things happen within my life as an effect on other people in life. Vice versa, a lot of things happen to me. It's just ripple effect. Everybody's center of their own universe. So like, I wouldn't say in my personal things that happen. Biggest heartache. Just a lot of times, I produce the feeling of heartache, thinking things are happening to me.
Mm.
A lot of times, I got too wrapped up in accepting that new philosophy that I lost power in my own self because I am capable of making things happen. But everything that happens isn't a result of my doing action. Some things just happen. So a lot of heartache came from my personalization of this life that I think is mine, which in ways it is, but in a lot of ways, it
So
kind of to me it kind of goes against oneness when I over personalize or
Mm,
find myself thinking I'm so unique in the center of my universe that things are happening to me. Where ultimately, on a scientific level, at a metaphysics level, like you know, we all ripple, we all ripple.
right.
Like when I was just at my house alone, I was just center of my universe. Whoever called me, whoever I was talking to on the game, or my therapist at the time, we then both began to ripple in each other's lives. Now I'm in a room with y'all. Anything that happens to me really ain't just happening to me as a result of me. Sometimes I lose sight of that.
Hmm.
Sometimes I think, it's Amari's life. Things that happen is it's Amari's thoughts. And, I say I cause myself a big heartache just like amplifying my importance in life and sometimes underplaying my importance in life. Meaning, you know, I look at us all as equals. So like, I would say that. Like none of the stuff I've been through, honestly, it was heartaches at the time, but like I said, I believe intuition is insight that God gives you before life or during life or while in life, but wisdom is collected through self-reflection. Has nothing to do with age. Age doesn't correlate with experience with like we say yesterday on the beach. Age doesn't correlate with purposeful living. I gained wisdom from taking the time to sit down and look back, but not too far back or too
Right.
long back that my present because my past, but like through self reflection, like I don't looking at my heartaches as heartaches anymore. Even this recent breakup, like I've grown so much from it since then. Once I started to accept it and look back and ask God, why did this happen? God, please help me see what I was supposed to learn from this. Things like that. Yeah. Thank you for asking. That's a good question.
Um, would you say those that, because we said self, would you say when you experience heartache, it's because in some way you're hindering yourself, or the person that you're experiencing heartache with has hindered you?
Mm, mm,
I would have to think about that. I was gonna say though, what
mm,
contributes to my heartache is just um, like I said, what contributed to my depression. I was sharing with both of y'all recently that I
Mhm.
did fuck that shit. But
Nah, fuck that shit.
fuck no.
It's a teddy bear. We're gonna sit it right here.
You wouldn't be where you at now when I.
I wouldn't say I learned anything from that experience, but I also haven't taken the time to reflect on it. I don't think that's accepting and overcoming. I think that's one of the things that you gotta throw that out of there. I didn't learn anything from that depression, but I'll take the time out maybe afterwards to reflect now that y'all said something. But what I was saying is what contributed to my heartache, which also contributed to my depression, is just living in the future, like just thinking way too far ahead. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So like when my
Yeah.
grandma died, I was 15. Like I'm a kid. 15, we like 10th grade, and
Well, I'm sorry. You just said you just said you learned nothing from it, and you're sitting here telling me that you learned something from it. You just said you learned that you was living too far in the future. So without that heartache and depression, we wouldn't be having
but
this
I could have
conversation
learned
right
that
now.
anyway because
Without that
you already learned
heartache
that
and
shit. I just
depression.
already learned it. So
So basically, God reminded you.
okay, because when my grandmother died, I was. Did I say I was depressed? I don't want to use that word depressed because then I'll have to define it. But
Mm,
yeah,
mm,
I definitely was suicidal, and part of that just came from me thinking my grandma died. I'm 15. I still got to live like 60 more years. I can't live 60 years without my grandma. You know what I'm saying? I'm like taking all of that on all at once versus just saying, I'll get through the day, and get through the next day, and get through the next day, and it's 10 years later. And did get through it, and that shit was hard, but that definitely contributed. Just trying to just thinking way too far ahead. I'm never gonna get through this, and then guess what? 10 years later, probably you did not get through it, but you accepted.
Right.
That's beautiful. Kind of circles back to being alone. That's what I took from it. It's funny. Not that you need to be, but I recently found out that my life path number is defined by death. We die a million times before we departure from this earth. Death is meaning rebirth. You recently, by my definition, you from that experience you just had, and with
The-
you gaining insight to look in the future, that version of Khalid died. That mindset died.
right.
And also, my dad always reminded me, son, and I'm confident enough to say this: if my whole family died today, I would be very sad, but that would not disable me for long.
Thank you.
Not for long. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be stuck a little bit for a minute, and I would be bad at that. But like, it wouldn't stop me from long for reminding myself what I've been taught, what I've learned. That like I said, I try not to over
And we can
personalize my
always
life.
channel them.
Facts, facts,
You
facts.
know what I'm saying? We can always still talk to those that are dead. So
But there's purpose beyond my life. There's purpose in my life beyond the ones I love and the ones I think I do it for. Because ultimately, God is in me, and I do this for God. And my source of God is myself, not my daughter, not you, not my parents, not my friends. Yes, there's God in them, and I see the God in them, but I do this for to serve myself, to serve others. And my parents and my loved ones aren't the only others, and they aren't myself.
right.
So, you know, I don't know. That's tough. That's tough. I'm glad you just brought that up though. That was tough.
That was good.
Mm.
You guys ready to answer my question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you remember it?
Nope.
I was just thinking about it too.
I said, the person or the relationship that you experience heartache in, do you feel like um the person or yourself was being hindered or it was hindering you in some way?
Um,
Uh, yes and no. Anytime I wake up in the morning, from the time I wake up to when I go to sleep, if there's any way, if there's any alignment in my thought process or action, if there's anything I do that I feel like I'm only doing, whether it's good or bad, if I'm doing it because of someone, then I'm being hindered by them or they are being hindered by me. You know what I'm saying? I should try to be my best self for me alone. And sometimes it takes two very special people together to understand that, hey, we don't share this table. You have your table, I have my table. We just conjoin tables. At the end of the day, I gotta do what I do for not just my life, but for God. We align at doing things for
And make
God
the
and through
table
God.
beautiful.
Exactly,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
And make it look, but make sure the table feels beautiful. It is beautiful. It is love. Even though we are, like you said, over here, I might be doing my hobbies. You might be doing your hobbies over here. But once dinner come, we're sitting down at the table. We're having, you know what I'm saying, shared conversations. It's love. And it's no hindering. You know what I'm saying? It's no, oh, you got that over there on your table, so why I ain't got this at my table? You know what I'm saying? Like on my side of the table, or um your table over there is fucking red and I want the whole table to be blue. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's make it fucking purple. Let's put the colors together, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The kids.
You should,
so we about to get right back. So what's a word that's like the opposite of hindrance? Because I want to rephrase the question because it was confusing to me. So I want to make sure everybody out there understands the question. So can we say the opposite of hindrance
aiding,
is okay?
hindering is
So
preventing from is is disabling. That being someone is not enabling you to do so. So I guess aiding or
okay. So can we phrase the question? Did the person that you experienced the heartache with after the heartache was their growth, was their aid? Did that separation aid you?
well, no,
Yes.
That's the question, right? Did that
Right.
separation aid
no,
you?
yes,
Because
yes, you're right.
the togetherness hindered
The
you.
opposite question
The
of the question, yes.
separation aided
I should
you.
have
Right.
said those for her to answer. I wouldn't let you reword my question.
I mean, it was
But that's for him to
Yo, to
understand.
for me to
understand it. Oh
understand.
You know what I'm
It took me
saying?
a while,
yeah.
like
Right.
that's why
And I
My
was about
that
to
bad,
give
my
first
him,
time you
bad,
asked
my
it, that's why
bad,
we went off and we
my
came back
bad,
to
my
it.
right.
bad.
So, I was
And I
trying
was
to
about
make
to give
sure.
my example to why I say hindering. My last relationship with my children's father, we was both hindering each other. I was hindering him because I was allowing him to take control, drive my car, treat me like shit. You know what I'm saying? Let him do the things that he wanted to do. That's hindering him. That's enabling him because I'm still doing for him, or I still was giving to him, even though um I felt like it wasn't good. I felt like it wasn't real, but I still was hindering and enabling him for being his best because I accepted the bullshit.
So
Wait, I'm going to explain how he was enabling me. He was enabling me because he was taking advantage. You know, when someone is really sweet, they love you, they understand you, they fucking would do anything for you, but you know that they have that love that just will go a fucking mile. So here you are taking advantage. And he was hindering himself because I don't feel like, well, I feel like he did aid from it. I don't know. I can't speak on his behalf. I aided from it because I understood that I was hindering myself, not the relationship, not the bond that we had, not the experiences that we shared, good or bad. Um, I kind of like stood in the mirror and was just like, you hold the cards, you hold the key to your life, you hold the key to your success, you hold the key to your future. You know what I'm saying? You have the master key. Why the fuck are you not using it? Why the fuck are you not, you know what I'm saying, experiencing, turning the keys and figuring out what doesn't hinder you, figuring out, you know what I'm saying, excuse me, what can you do to aid yourself without having to, I wouldn't say look for a partner, but without having to find your team yet. You know what I'm saying? Without, I wouldn't say find your team, but like without discovering yourself first, I feel like you're gonna go and experience heartache.
Mm. So for me, let's use our friendship as an example.
hold on, can we like sum up her point? I want to make sure I heard her correctly. So would you say that y'all being in a relationship together that stunted both of y'all growth, right?
Yeah.
And also, would you say, basically, like I want to go back to that teamwork example. We about to do a group project, right?
Right.
And it's a fourth person over there, and they like, dang, I know I can't do this project by myself, so I'm gonna go join their team.
Right.
Most likely, that person is gonna be a hindrance, right?
No.
Mm-mm.
You don't think so?
Because they're coming to lend a hand. They're not coming to sit there and
No, I'm saying if they like take the children's father for example. If he knows he can't do certain stuff by himself, so he's like, I'm gonna be in a relationship with you because he know he can't do it by himself.
Mm-mm.
It's not the same thing.
say it again.
I know I can't do this certain things on my own, so I am going to be in a relationship with Teresa or continue to be in. I know I don't have my own car, so I'm going to drive her car. Like
and
that's
that's
always
enabling
that's going to be a
himself.
hindrance, right?
Yes. But that's to
Any
him.
person that does that.
Mm-mm.
You said yes and no?
No, he said no.
Okay. I'm gonna say
Go ahead. I only ask that. I only ask that
because you're
because I only
confusing.
ask that because in private conversations with both of y'all like, well, Khalid, you can't do it by yourself, then you don't need to be doing it with somebody else. So if you can't do it by yourself, but then you find somebody else to do it with you, that's going to be a hindrance, right? Like I said, I can't, or not I can't, but I don't want to do, or I don't do certain business stuff by myself. I don't do certain entrepreneurship stuff by myself. So I seek a relationship to aid that. I'm hindering myself.
But you're
or
a
I'm hindering
Taurus.
that person,
That's
right?
what you master. That's what you guys do.
Okay, so that's okay.
Well,
That's
remember
okay.
what I said earlier.
No,
It
it's
is
not.
okay.
It's not okay
It
for
is
you to
okay.
do because you need to know what your strength is for you not have to know, hey, I need to go join the team because I can't do this. Find something that you can do, isolate yourself, mastering that shit. Then the team will come to you.
But if you haven't done that, it's gonna be a hindrance.
No, it's
Remember,
not.
remember
The
what I
hindrance
said.
is you.
Remember what I said earlier.
It doesn't matter who you. I mean, I'm gonna either hinder myself or hinder the group if I haven't mastered that one key element, skill, and stuff like
That's
that.
what I'm saying though. Is it a key element skill that you know that you can master? Or is it a key element skill that you need someone to help you with?
I need somebody to help.
This is what I would say. Remember earlier I said that's what I commend. But now looking back,
You come in what?
sometimes we change as a result of things that happen. Cool. Sometimes we choose to change. Growth is a choice. Sometimes. Sometimes we grow because of things that happen.
Right.
Okay, we lose our job because we was fucking up. We have to change. Sometimes we want to advance in the job, but we're tired of working for this company, so we seek entrepreneurship, a change we come to. Self reflection is a choice. So, like her relationship, same way. I just look at it differently. The love of my life, my ex, she loved me more than she loved herself.
Exactly.
I I wasn't using her. She loved me more than she loved herself, but she loved herself still more than I love myself. So it's like in our relationship. Every day I come here, I'm like, damn, bro, you folding clothes. Da, 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 da. Okay. Where you're weak, or no, where I'm weak, I expect you to continue to be strong. But I don't expect you pulling up to my house. Hey, bro, I'm here. Let's fold clothes. I acknowledge that that's a strong point of yours. I will continue to watch you do that. It's up to me
Right.
to pick up from that and do it.
And be inspired by it.
Exactly. So growth is a choice. I don't think when I look back on my recent relationship, I don't think I was using her. Yes, at times I was. Ultimately, I'll only be using her in present day still, and we're not together. If I go seek somebody else out to do those same things, now I want to write my own budget. Now I'm
Right.
not just trying to run away from my problems. I'm gonna take care of that damn dog. I'm gonna
Right.
cook for myself. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, yes, in that instance, I may have been using her, but those are areas that she was strong and I was weak, and it's my fault that I wasn't able to grow from those things while we were together. I expect her to still be strong while I'm weak and teach. It allowed me to learn what she was doing. I refused to learn, but because we're not together now, that doesn't mean I still don't have the chance to grow from her. So it's just like it would be more weak of me if damn I lose my place or I go to this doctor appointment next week and they say your index levels down, you got hyperthyroidism, your blood sugar high. Oh, well then I'm gonna be forced to change. But I commend myself more by what you've been seeing me with every time with bananas. That's change I made on my own.
Right.
So could one look at my life and say I was using my ex? Yes. Well, I look at my life and say I was using her? Yes and no. I would say yes, I used her, but from me using her, I chose to change. Now I'm eating the bananas, I'm taking my vitamins, I'm doing the
Right.
shit. So like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Everything happens for a reason.
But I commend you on that because that's growth and that's self reflection, and you are doing a good job. But everybody don't do that, bro.
It's
Some
true.
people
It's
they
true.
just go they go
That's
jump from
true.
the next thing to that, or like people
That's
that
true.
habitually get fired, and it's always the job fault or it's always somebody else's fault. You know what I'm saying? So some people don't do that self reflection and growth, and they just
We don't focus on those
You
people.
know,
right.
We
I
don't focus on
cried.
them.
I cried for hours.
We stay away from them
I
because
cried for hours the other day. You would think this is crazy. You know my life. And I go to hear my father at Isaiah, to hear my father, my dad's graduation, go, son, after he got his reading, he was like, son, your path is far greater than mine. You know, sometimes I hate who my dad is just because set the bar a little high. But now, you know what I'm saying? I don't look at it as, I don't look at it
That's his
as,
bar though.
yes, exactly. And then more importantly, he was like, this not a bar you have to reach. This is a part of your bar that you will reach.
right.
So now it's just like, okay, in every way where he's strong and I'm weak, I'm not looking at it like, damn, I need to be as strong as him. It's like, no, the strength that I see in him was put in my life so I could be inspired to be stronger, to use that shit. I've been so living and I have to live up to it. It has honestly blocked me from using it as an aid for me to be stronger. So sometimes that's what an X is. Sometimes in our bad shit we do, using people, not being emotionally strong, big standoffs, all that shit. That's through self reflection. I can okay, damn, this person I was with was like this. Even if they're not with me now, through my memories, I can look back and see why they were like that, how they were like that, and I can learn from it. So I mean, I just feel like we all got to do that. Like just how she explained, like with her exes, same way, same way. And don't forget, like perception. You can look at some things one way, and I don't judge anybody's perception. That's something that's like their
Everybody on a
thoughts.
different
Yes,
timeline.
that's theirs. I don't judge. I don't say, hey, bro, you're not. Hey, that's not how I would see it. You should see it like this. No, that's how you see it. That's how you see it. But I see it as we all, through our self reflection, through all the bad shit we've done, the times we've been used, we have an opportunity to
Right.
grow.
Right.
We do. Damn, this is good. This is good.
It is.
Y'all like, comment, subscribe.
Definitely thumbs up. Give us some like.
Infinity Podcast.
This is good.
Y'all want to wrap it up? I got one more question.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm here. I'm here. I'm present. I choose to be in the present moment. Yo, he said, breathe 6 cows and breathe out. Yoga was amazing yesterday on the beach. It was a vibe.
I'm glad y'all went.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. We're never going again. It was great.
Nah, we doing a thing though.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. We in Portsmouth all the way out Hampton, like 25-minute drive. But
Jesus.
35?
35 minutes.
Well, we was having a good talk there. That was smooth. Any other questions?
Everybody can ask one more final question. My final question
Okay.
would be, so what is your number one self-reflection tool?
Mm.
Or not tool, but like the thing.
What do you do?
Yeah.
I'll start first.
You was meditating.
No. I mean, it is a part of it, but self-reflection to me is dancing. Really. It shows me how I look when I move this way, the way my body sways, my facial expressions as well. Self-reflection is like, how can I explain it? I don't want to say an urge, but it's like a feeling that you get when you don't want to get distracted. So you pull into yourself and you do something fun. I don't try to make my self-reflections boring. And I do talk while I dance. And yeah, that's my tool, dancing for
Beautiful
self-reflection.
answer. I haven't self-reflected alone in a long time. Meaning, think about something that you're gonna self-reflect on, and think about anything. It could be something you did, something that happened to you, something that you produced, you acquired. Write down your thoughts about it, and then start getting in the habit of. I challenge anybody viewing. Start getting a habit of simply asking God to come in your vessel and self-reflect with you. I promise you, because I've done that and I've routinely done it, it becomes evident. You know, we always say, I. Well, I know myself so well. I know my thoughts. And I know the thoughts that are channeled through this vessel that aren't mine. So whenever I think on anything, like just now, like even into this conversation, quickly, God, please use me as a vessel. Think through me. Help me see through your lenses. And I start getting thoughts that I know are not mine. And as time goes forward, I will admit,
It is yours though, because the root.
I was about to say, as time goes forward, my thoughts start to align with them thoughts. However, when I start looking back on things, when I self-reflect on things, I just ask God to come within me, and I notice a different line of thoughts and opinions. So, but for me, self-reflection is simply, I sit down and I try to detach. If I'm looking back, I try to detach from the Amari or from that time point that I'm looking back on, because if I'm looking back on something with the same mindset, same person, I mean, it's not gonna really look different. Even though I'm looking back, it's still healthy. But like, I try to look back through the lenses of God, not through my own eyes. I start seeing stuff in a different way. I mean, sometimes it's insightful, but it's not what I want to see. But you know, I always look back through the lens of God, and I try to bring, like she just said, important. I don't get in the habit of even depending on. I won't say depending on God, but I try to not get in the habit of having to bring those lenses to my eyes. Through asking God to provide those lenses, eventually I don't take off those lenses. So right now I say like I got like a monocular, I just got one eye, but like eventually I'm gonna have both of them things. But like
Right.
I try to look back not just through my memories and not just through my eyes looking back on those memories. Try to look back, you know, through the eyes of God and start seeing stuff different. And I don't hold no punches for myself. I don't. And then everybody has somebody in their life that is righteous. Everybody does. Trust me.
Yeah.
Uh, Even when I can't bring God into it, or when I feel like I'm not in the right mindset to, I always WWLD. What would Lamont do? That's my dad. I started thinking, well, how would he look at it? And I get different answers there too. But and then I try to seek the counsel of those that I see the God in everybody, but I try to seek the counsel of those from the people that the rays of God are pouring out of. So a lot of times I can be hurt. A lot of times that's you. I just, hey, bro, you know what I said? But it's funny because as much as I call on him sometimes, he be asking me, and it's so reassuring. I'll be like, bro, I'm sick. Why you calling on me? But he really, you, Isaiah, my siblings, y'all really make me understand that God exists in us all. Like sometimes I lose sight of the God in myself, and just you asking me for advice. I know sometimes not because we're friends, because you feel divine energy for the advice I say. You see righteousness in me aside from all the BS I go through. So it reminds me that, dang, you know, I should start calling on myself sometimes instead of So yeah. How do you answer that? Thank you for asking. That was a good question.
That was a good question.
That was a good question.
What was the question?
What is self-reflection? How do you do it?
I'll say my number one self-reflection tool is just like, just mentally documenting like my progress and my growth throughout my life and taking note of, the things I have overcome, the growth that I have experienced. Um, I definitely use the gym and working out as a self-reflection tool because depending on certain states of mind, certain moods, certain eating habits, patterns, relationships, depending on like
Excuse me.
what I'm going through, I will be more active in the gym or less active in the gym. So that's a good measurement of
What'd you say yesterday?
self-reflection.
I said something about, see, you facing it alone. You said something deep in the gym the other day.
Oh, and I said whenever I'm in the gym and I see a piece of equipment and I'm like, dang, I don't want to do that exercise today. I go
Run straight to it.
That's the first exercise I gotta do. Like,
Beautiful.
I be like trying to avoid it. What's that, like the ant when you gotta like lift your leg? I be like, man, I don't want to do that today. Then
that shit is hard.
I'm like, damn, now I gotta go over there and do 3 sets. So yeah, I definitely use the gym as a good self-reflection tool, and I use my family and friends too, but I'm trying to like get off of that.
I want to shout out, if you're listening, I don't know where you at in life. I know after Ruffner, you went to work at Granby. Miss Pedos, 7th grade algebra, you taught me the most important equation in my life. Effort equals success.
Okay.
I've been following that since I was 12. And I just want to say, I ain't really like it that much then, but you are a loving spirit. You dropped that gem on me. I never thought I would pick up what you was putting down 10 years later. It has been a foundation in my mindset, and I thank you for it. And keep going.
That's it. I had everything I gotta say.
I said everything I had to say.
I like the dancing too. I was gonna say journaling. I just didn't want to get too deep. But yeah, I definitely could feel you.
I mean, I do that, but I feel like sometimes, self-reflection can be cold, and I do certain dance self-reflection like push me into states where I do have to look at myself raw, everything, even my mind, and I don't dance to just feel good. I dance to cry sometimes. I dance to release things, and it helps me a lot though. It does. It does. It does. I try to make it fun because self-reflecting can sometimes be extremely hard. Extremely hard. Yeah. So that's what you could do for self-reflection. Do something that you really, really enjoy doing, and I'm talking about to the extreme. And it's not so hard for you to answer the questions while you're doing it. It's going to more so flow, and you might end up crying. You might end up feeling stagnant, or might can't answer the question that you ask yourself while self-reflecting, but you're having fun while doing it. So yeah, do something very fun for self-reflection, and don't think too hard about it.
And whoever say you always right, whoever say, girl, don't worry about that. Whoever say, bro, come on, bro, you know they tripping. Stop talking to them.
Facts.
Seek someone that's gonna hold you accountable. And if you can't find nobody, hold yourself accountable. We all make mistakes. If you still the you was 10 years ago, you ain't growing
You're not moving
at all. Stagnant. You still in water.
zombie.
Absolutely. Be moving water. Keep saving.
Okay.
Do something challenging. That's why I said do the
Right.
film. Like, do something that you can, like track your growth.
And record yourself. Record yourself. That is really big too.
And get y'all pH right. Eat some alkaline.
Okay.
All of y'all.
Nigga, eat one banana talking about what you
That's the ego.
It's been a little strong out here this summer. Get your house, I love y'all.
We appreciate y'all for listening. This has been the Infinity Podcast. Peace, love, and blessings to you all.
Oneness, God bless.
We used to kick
This was
routines and the
great. This
presence
was
was
great.
faded. It was I, the abstract.
And me, the 5-footer. I kicks the mad style, so step off the Frankfurter.
Yo, Fife, you remember that routine? That way used to make spiffy like Mr. Clean?
A tidbit, a smidgen. I don't get the message, so you got to run
Okay,
the pitch.
you're on point, Fife.
All the time, Tip.
You're on point, Fife.
All the time, Tip.
You're on point, Fife.
All the time, Tip.
But then grab the microphone and let your words ring.